like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Killer Book Club is very much a ripoff or adjacent to Scream.
Halloween. You know, the one with the guy in the white mask who walks around and stalks babysitters?
If you've seen the Scream movies, especially the first one, there's so many kind of copied moments, almost not quite word for word, but moment for moment. You'll know it when you see it. But does that make this not watchable? Let's talk about it. 8 horror-loving friends fight for their lives when a killer clown who seems to know the grim secret they share begins to pick them off one by one. So if you took a little bit of Scream and you took a little bit of I Know What You Did Last Summer and a number of those other kind of teen Scream films, then that's what you kind of get here. Although I like the clown concept of the horror kind of concentrating on clown phobia, I know there's a word for it, I'm trying to remember it. However, clowns are creepy, so there is that kind of tick in the right direction. I've never seen a clown face quite like this, and I think that adds a little bit to the tension. Kind of friendly, but also in a twisted way with the smile, which makes it, you know, that so much worse, especially when used in this kind of way. Now, some of the kills that you're obviously going to get in this, I think are done really well and quite gross, and will have you going with certain reactions, like when you see how the kills are done. However, going back to that Scream moments, because you'll have that in your mind when watching it, if you've seen Scream, you'll probably pick out the twist. You'll probably know what's going to happen next, and beat for beat you'll know, oh, that person is the person who did it, or the big twist, because of those moments that you remembered of, like, oh, they did this in Scream. And that lets it down a lot, because I had that in the forefront of my mind. I knew exactly who was the killer. I knew exactly what the twist would be. I did have some fun with this. I like the build up and the premise of them all being in this book club, and as the chapters are used with technology like the phones being released, you have a guy that loves to do internet stuff, like he's a internet minor celebrity. I guess he wants to be internet famous, and so he is trying to control the narrative as this killer releases chapters of the books. And as some of them get taken out, we follow in the shoes, not quite of the killer, but of the book club. And you're always trying to guess, pointing fingers at who's done it, even though you're probably going to sit there going, oh, that person did it. And then they'll point at another one and go, that person did it. But when you think about Scream, you'll be like, no, it's definitely that person. I like the kills. I like the costume design. I like the cinematography. I think it looks very good. And I think the acting is fine with what they've been given. I think in all, one-time watch, it's definitely kind of ticking the boxes of a Scream movie that's been done before. And they also leave it to a place where you think you know what's happened at the end, but I'm not sure. I kind of would like to do an ending explained. Maybe I will do at the end of this review, just so people can have their moments. If you're going to do spoiler talk, remember to do the spoiler word ... and then give your text, because you know you don't want to spoil it for others if possible. Otherwise I'd have to delete those comments. Getting back into the review, there are moments that certain characters do certain things that are stupid. And you find that a little bit in the Scream movies, but they talk about it as a motif of, you know, using the media, especially in Scream 1, where they use the media as a thing to learn about what not to do to try to survive. So when one of the characters say, I'll be back, they all go, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, or going into the basement, or going somewhere by yourself, or splitting up. All of the things you should not do. And this film makes our characters do some of those things multiple times, and even some of the teenage moments of where they're angsty because of so-and-so's with who in a relationship, they don't stick together. I do wonder at this point whether one day we will get a teenage serial killer with them making smart decisions, because a lot of the time you just kind of sigh going, why are you doing that? You get a lot of that in here. So as much as I like the cinematography, the use of neon colors, the aesthetically pleasing shots that they use, because this seems to be like the most modern university with colored lights. So some of the moments it's like, why do they even have those colored lights in this part of the university? That seems weird. It's very creative university. So putting all of that aside, it looks great. And like I mentioned, with the characters, they've done such a good job at kind of creating those characters that they should be, even though they're kind of caricatures of what they've written been written to be. So the one person is the moody one, the one is the geeky one. There's not much more to them than that. So here's the biggest issue I have with this film, is that in the Scream films, I actually really was rooting for some of them to survive.
I've been feeling with you, alright? I can't take anymore. I'm feeling a little woozy here.
I like them. In this one, it's very hard to like any of them. There wasn't enough kind of backstory given to them. There wasn't that relationship moments, the emotional entanglement that you need the audience to have with your characters. So when they start dying, you might have those reactions of going, you don't really care. And by the time the ending came, I was looking forward to the ending to be the ending, and kind of rooting for the bad guy to see what the kills would be like, because I didn't really care about the characters. So let me know, did you care about the characters? Which is your favorite Scream type movie? From I Know What You Did Last Summer to Urban Legends to this one. Maybe you like a bit more eclectic choices, or maybe you don't like these at all. But I'm going to give this 2 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
And you got one. Congratulations.
So here's the ending explained and the spoiler stuff, so click away if you don't want any ending explained. It's going to be a very quick one. There's a moment at the end of this film where I guess the film has already been showing us that it's all in our protagonist's mind, in moments where she sees the clown, the killer clown with the costume, and then she goes, it's not real, and she looks back, and obviously the clown is gone, but then we're wondering when that's going to come into play. And at the end we see her finally, that it's revealed that there were 2 killers, and the one was Alice who got burnt, and we are left to think after it's been some time that Alice is dead. And then we see that literally just moments before the film is ending, we see our protagonist walking to class. Everybody's walking past and we see that clown suit again, and everybody suddenly disappears. The killer is going to attack her, and does, and that's where it ends. We don't get to see what happens, so leaving you going, was it in her mind or was the killer actually there? Now I think they've been establishing for quite a while that to play with the idea that some of it could have been in her mind when the clown was around, because she has clown phobia. At the same time, the killer that we saw at the end, when everybody went to class suddenly, because there were lots of people around, had burn marks on her face, suggesting that she was actually still alive and she went to kill the final person in the 8, which could mean that they're looking to do a franchise in this series and do part 2. I do question the ability of everyone suddenly being away. It does feel like that could be fake, but with the burn marks on her face, I would say probably means that there's only one person left alive, and that person is probably going to be in the sequel if they ever do one. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.